What's up YouTube, Jock217 here, and we are finally back with another Kingdom Hearts Top 10 Countdown. Well, we already talked about the support abilities, so now it's time to discuss the top 10 offensive abilities. For this list, I will not be including any of the attack commands from the handheld games. I won't be including any of the temporary offensive abilities that you can use during dry forms or lion form. I also won't be including any of the slights, damn it, from Chain of Memories, simply because I consider those to be more special attacks than actual abilities. And lastly, I will not be including any of the special abilities like Strike Raid from Kingdom Hearts 1 or any of the limits from Kingdom Hearts 2, simply because those deserve a list of their own. So without further ado, let's get started then, shall we? These are, in my opinion, the top 10 best offensive abilities in Kingdom Hearts. Starting this list off at number 10 is Ariel Spiral from Kingdom Hearts 2. This ability can be obtained after Sora finishes his Zelda training and smashes all of the pots at Olympus. However, in the final mix version, you don't obtain this until after defending the medallion from the pirates in Port Royal. This ability is a vertical attack that attacks the enemy 3 times in the air. This attack actually does some pretty decent damage to the enemy, but the really good thing about this ability is how much it staggers the enemy. If you don't use any finishers on certain enemies, you can essentially land up to 5 aerial spirals before they finally counter you. Hell, if you combine this attack with Peter Pan with proper timing, you essentially have another Fenrir negative combo on your hands. The downsides to this ability are that it is a tad bit slow and there is essentially no way to cancel out of it, which means you are wide open to being attacked. Also, using this on larger enemies will not stagger them. But since this ability is really good at staggering certain enemies, it earns its spot at number 10. Up next is Vicinity Break from Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. This ability is obtained after defeating the hostile program during the first visit in Tron's world. This attack is a ground attack that damages and pushes back all surrounding enemies. What makes this ability good is that it can really help you out in crowded situations. If you're really low on health, you can use this ability to stagger all of your surrounding enemies and then jump out of the way to heal yourself, which I have done on more than one occasion, believe me. The downside to this ability is that it doesn't really do a whole lot of damage until you get to the higher levels, and I also feel like this ability could have been a tad more useful if we obtained it a little bit earlier than we actually do. But still, the fact that it causes all surrounding enemies to flinch, which gives you enough time to either heal or start up a combo, is what gives it its spot at number 9. Next up is Hurricane Blast from Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix. You obtain this ability at level 18 with the staff, 27 with the sword, and 51 with the shield. This ability is essentially an upgraded Ariel Spiral, except it is a combo finisher and doesn't do multiple hits. Even though Hurricane Blast doesn't inflict multiple hits like Ariel Spiral does, it definitely dishes out way more damage. And the fact that this ability can be obtained really early is also a huge bonus, since it will definitely help you dish out a ton of damage to some bosses like Oogie Boogie or Dragon Maleficent. The downside to this ability is that, just like with Ariel Spiral, if you miss with this attack, there is no way to cancel out of it and you are left wide open for the enemy to attack you. But for the most part, you will land this attack on your enemy and you should have nothing to worry about. Coming in at number 7 is Upper Slash from Kingdom Hearts 2. You obtain this ability after defeating the Possessor during your first visit to Beast Castle. This ability allows you to use the square button to knock your enemy up into the air from the ground mid-combo and start off a brand new combo in the air. The greatest thing about this ability is that, unlike some other combo modifiers, Upper Slash actually counts as a combo finisher, meaning you can end boss fights mid-combo instead of waiting for your combo to actually finish. The biggest downside about this ability, however, is that since it does count as a finisher, if it is used too early, it can mess with the enemy's revenge value and the enemy can unexpectedly counter you out of nowhere and possibly kill you. But since this ability counts as a combo finisher and serves as one of the loopholes to Kingdom Hearts 2's must end a boss with a finisher mechanic, it earns its spot at number 7. Sitting in the 6th slot is Guard Break from Kingdom Hearts 2. You obtain this ability after clearing the 1000 Heartless battle in Hollow Bastion. The name of this ability should pretty much say it all already. It doesn't matter what kind of physical armor the enemy may have, this combo finisher will make the enemy flinch, guaranteed. The only considerable downside to this ability is that you don't get it until halfway into the game, and it would have been really useful for some enemies we encounter early on, like the Assault Riders. The only reason why it is number 6 is because it simply got outclassed. Standing in the middle of this list is Finishing Leap from Kingdom Hearts 2. You obtain this ability after defeating the Volcanic and Blizzard Lord during your first visit to Agrabah. This ability is a ground combo finisher that sends surrounding enemies into the air while dealing a ton of damage, meaning after using it you can immediately start an air combo on the enemy if they don't counter you. As the description may imply, this ability is really good in mob fights and will make a huge difference in these fights. The only reason why it is barely at number 5 is, just like Guard Break, it simply got outclassed. Chilling in the 4th slot is Explosion from Kingdom Hearts 2. You originally obtained this ability after defeating the Volcanic and Blizzard Lord in Agrabah, but in the final mix version, you don't get this ability until you beat the Solar Sailor segment during your second visit in Tron's world. For a very good reason too, because this ability does damage based off of Sora's magic stat, meaning you could raise Sora's magic stat to be extremely high and Sora will do a ton of damage to the enemies. On top of that, Explosion is also a large AoE attack that inflicts multiple hits on the enemies, making it really good for mob fights. And now for the biggest downside it has. Even though it is capable of doing a ton of damage, it can really bite you in the ass in some boss fights. Since Explosion does a ton of damage and does multiple hits, it heavily messes with the boss's revenge value, meaning that if you hit a boss like Roxas with this attack, you have a really high chance of getting counterattacked, especially if you use Explosion immediately after Guard Break. Because of this fact, most people tend to only use Guard Break on bosses so they can inflict more damage before getting counterattacked. Other than that, Explosion is an excellent technique to have in your arsenal, which definitely earns it its rightful spot at number 4. Earning the bronze crown for this list is Magnet Burst from Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. You can obtain this ability after defeating Hades during your second visit to Olympus. Just like Explosion, this attack does damage based off of Sora's magic stat, meaning you can do a ton of damage if your magic stat is extremely high. The greatest thing about this ability though is that it brings all surrounding enemies towards you, stops any attack that they are trying to do, and knocks them all back while inflicting damage. Hell, equip Fenrir and negative combo ability and you will be able to handle almost any mob battle with absolute ease since you would be able to spam this one attack. The downside of this ability is that it actually does inflict dark elemental damage. Also, using Magnet Burst is essentially pointless in boss fights since it is made for mob battles, except for Hades for some reason. But other than that, Magnet Burst is an absolute godsend when it comes to mob battles, which gives it its well-deserved slot at number 3. Getting the silver crown for this list is Sliding Dash from Kingdom Hearts 2. You obtain this ability after defeating all of the Heartless in the cave with Ping during your first visit in the Land of Dragons. This ability is really good at closing the distance that you may have with the enemy. You can be far away from the enemy and Sora will still slide right to them and inflict damage. On top of that, it is extremely fast and Sora can dodge any enemy attacks that may be coming from behind him. Now yes, it doesn't block enemy attacks like Flash Step does, but if I want to block an enemy's attack, I'd rather just use Guard or Reflect or Limits to make myself invincible. I have found no downsides to this ability at all. The simple fact of the matter is, it just got outclassed. Alrighty guys, before I reveal my number 1 pick, here are the honorable mentions. Okay, it is now time for the number 1 slot. Which ability will receive the golden crown for this countdown? Well, let's find out right now. This is, in my opinion, the number 1 best offensive ability in Kingdom Hearts until Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out. Earning the gold crown for this list is Horizontal Slash from Kingdom Hearts 2. You obtain this ability after defeating the hostile program in the original Kingdom Hearts 2 and after defeating the Grim Reaper on the Black Pearl in the final mix version. This ability is an aerial combo modifier that does 3 hits to the enemy in the air. There are so many good things about this ability. For starters, it actually has a hidden air combo plus attached to it, which means more damage in the air. It does a good amount of damage per hit, it is really good at staggering the enemy, and the best part about this ability is that it also counts as a combo finisher, meaning you can end boss fights with it as well. On top of all of that, even though this ability counts as a finisher, it doesn't add on to the enemy's revenge value as much as a normal finisher would, which means you can land at least 4 to 6 of these attacks before the boss finally counterattacks. Hell, combine this with Berserk Charge of Peter Pan and you might, keyword might, be able to infinitely stagger the enemy if you do it right. I could go on about the other uses for Horizontal Slash, like what it can do in various minigames, but I think I've already proven my point. Thank you, Square, for giving us this godly ability. That's gonna have to do it for my top 10 countdown. What offensive abilities were best for you guys? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to hammer, smash, and stab that like button and subscribe, of course, and I will see you guys next time. See you guys later. Be safe. Mata ne. Don't overdo it.